Deux salles, deux ambiances. On quitte l'univers chaloupé d'Alessandra Montagne et de toute sa bande. Pour rester à Paris, on traverse la Seine, direction le 11e arrondissement, dans un restaurant qui porte un drôle de nom, et surtout avec un drôle de chef qu'on a déjà croisé à Salt il y a quelques années et ailleurs dans le monde. Sa tête vous dit peut-être quelque chose, en tout cas une fois qu'on l'a croisé, il est sûr qu'on s'en souvient. On est très heureux d'accueillir Daniel Morgan du restaurant Robert à Paris. Venez, messieurs.
Salut, man.
Hi. How are you?
How am I? I'm fine.
Fine.
I'm great to be here, man.
Comme vous pouvez l'entendre, Daniel vient de Sheffield,
Ouais.
d'où cet
exactement.
accent
Very strong.
very strong, très prononcé. Daniel, what do you think? Is it okay to speak Franglish?
Franglish, yeah, but
All right.
bien sûr.
Le plus simple, ce serait évidemment qu'on le fasse en anglais, mais ça nécessiterait de faire pas mal de traductions, donc on va essayer de faire un mix
Okay.
de tout ça. Daniel, could you just say a word? Est-ce que tu peux un peu parler de
Ouais.
Robert? Who
Okay.
is Robert?
So, Robert is a restaurant in the 11e. We were attached to a farm that we have here in the Loire Valley. It's called Jardin-sur-Loire.
So you decide to do it in English, right?
Yes.
Because you don't
funny.
speak French.
I don't speak French that much.
Okay, bon, on va- don't worry. Go ahead.
Right, and basically we are very highly focused on vegetables, herbs. We're looking for new techniques and methods to manipulate and to bring about different flavors with fermentation and juices and things like this.
Because on a besoin de comprendre. Le restaurant Robert est associé finalement à ce lieu qui se trouve dans la vallée de la Loire,
Ouais.
qui est un lieu où on peut manger,
Oui,
parfois, et où il y a le jardin qui
Ouais.
va servir voilà, pour
Exactement.
nourrir évidemment ce lieu sur place et Robert.
right, exact. And we're very lucky to have this. It's a little bit of a privilege especially in Paris, to be receiving fresh, beautiful herbs, vegetables from a garden. You know, like it's something that is, we work with the gardener 6 months in advance. We choose the seeds, the herbs we want to use for the next season.
So all the herbs we can have on stage are coming from the garden, right?
They're
Tout
all
ce qui est
coming
là
from the
vient-
Loire.
All right.
Yeah, and this makes one of our most famous dishes.
But
Well,
shh,
okay,
don't say a word.
I'll give it away
about
the
that.
secret already.
Yeah, it will be the final.
Okay. Cool.
Daniel, could you just say a word again about your culinary journey? You know, why Paris now, and where do you come from? You know, you worked in different places around the world. Just say a word for the audience that didn't know you.
Okay, so basically my culinary journey started in London,
Okay.
and I worked in a few different restaurants, Gordon Ramsay, The Ritz, Sketch with Pierre Gagnère, and I did my formation there. And after that, after a while of working like 8 years in fine dining restaurants, I decided that I needed to get voyage, you know. I wanted to go out, I wanted to experience. So I went first to Berlin. Didn't work that much. And then I voyaged to India, and I spent 1 year in India working in different regions, learning about the cuisine, regional cuisine.
This is where
Kerala.
you learn a lot. L'Inde qui t'a beaucoup apporté hein,
Yeah.
dans
And
ton parcours.
And I learned how to use spices, flavors with humidity, how to extract. I mean, there's an entire state in Gujarat that is just vegetables, and it's a desert. So having this type of knowledge of how to manipulate a vegetable when you can't actually grow them was incredible. It was futuristic, you know.
When it was? C'était quand cette expérience en Inde?
À Nantes,
En Inde, yeah.
ouais.
When it was? When?
When it was, this is like nearly 10 years ago now.
Okay.
10 years ago. And after a year in India, I decided that I wanted to come back to restaurants. And at the time, everybody was talking about Noma.
Okay, Noma,
So-
évidemment, ce grand nom, qui
Ouais.
est quasiment une école à lui tout
So
seul.
I sent my CV there, and I ended up spending 6 months in the kitchen, a few months in the test kitchen. And from that, for me, was like relearning an alphabet. You know, everything that I knew was put to one side, and I learned again different techniques.
And
It's
it was
like
the first Noma, not the second
the
one.
first Noma, yeah.
Ok, celui qui était sur les quais avant
Yeah.
le déménagement du côté de Repshalon.
Right. And just like my first experience there was going out foraging. I was going
Donc,
straight to
accueillir
get some
sauvage.
ants. And like second day, I tasted an ant, and it was an explosion of citrus and grapefruit and Szechuan from a tiny little morsel. I was just blown away. Like it was like opened my culinary palate so much.
And
So-
maybe we can go further and go directly to Salt before in Paris. It
Yeah.
was the first restaurant I went when it was 6 or 7 years ago.
6 years
Le
ago now.
restaurant Salt qui était donc dans le 12e près du Square
Ouais.
Gardette. Si je me
Square Gardet, exact.
Exactement.
C'est un restaurant poisson, beaucoup le poisson. And there, I just come from working in Japan, so I was using a lot of raw fish techniques, dashis, algs, so it's very yod. But it's a very nice way to cook for a while, to use this method and to really discover the ingredients, how to age them, how to use all of the intestines of the fish, the heads, the bones, So we really went deep into the process.
And all these experiences, toutes ces expériences arrived here and now at Robert.
Everything that's culminated to bring me here, yes. But Paris to me is one that has the stage, Like people understand what you're trying to say in Paris. I feel like there is an audience for, I'm not exactly classical, things I do are not bound to anywhere because there's many experiences and people really get it here. I find it easier to cook in Paris than anywhere else.
We're happy to hear that.
Yeah. Cheers.
Can I just ask you something?
Yes.
Why do you have bread and butter? I don't know if the camera see that, but could you say a word about this? This is so French, if I can say that.
I mean, this is my diet 90% of the time because we're always running around the kitchen. But actually, it's from a George Orwell book. And the idea is bread and butter is an expression in English. Your bread and butter is how you earn your money. So it comes from a story where the tramps used to circulate London and go to different monasteries and houses and work, and they were paid in bread and butter.
Okay.
So they'd be able to sleep there. So that's where the idea comes from. My hands are my bread and butter.
All right. Donc, maybe we can say a word about the dishes you want to propose to the audience. And
Okay.
maybe your colleague, could you just say, present him?
Yeah.
Est-ce que tu
This
peux
is
le présenter?
Matthias, is my sous-chef at Robert.
Salut, Mathias.
We've been working together for a year, so he knows pretty much all the techniques we're going to use.
Okay.
And we're going to start with
Maybe we can bring all the dishes you want to prepare on the front,
Ouais.
if you're okay, just for the people in the cameras,
Yeah.
pour que tout le monde puisse
we'll start with
bénéficier.
pasta. And we've got the brine one as well.
Daniel, est-ce que tu peux nous dire un mot, donc des assiettes qui vont sortir?
Okay. So basically, this is the pastèque.
Il ne veut pas parler
It's
français.
something
je suis
we've
désolé.
become very famous for.
Je peux le forcer.
Ouais.
Non,
voilà.
non, vas-y.
You want to explain it in French? Basically, we have different preparations. So the pastèque is treated like ham.
Donc, on a une pastèque, j'ai vu ici, c'est
Ouais.
ça?
It starts like this, basically.
This is a pastèque from the garden,
From the
right?
garden, yes. It starts like this. We treat it like a ham. I
Tu
wanted
le
to
traites comme un jambon, c'est ce que tu as
Ouais,
dit.
c'est
Ok.
très bon le jambon. And we put it into a saumure for 5 days
Ok.
outside, so it
Donc, une
naturally
saumure, un
ferments.
mélange d'eau et de sel, à peu près 10%.
Sel, sucre, c'est 10%? Ouais, j'ai 10 ou 12%.
Ok.
Beaucoup les herbes,
For how
ail,
long do you put that in the saumure?
5 jours.
5 jours.
5 jours dans le saumure. And after this stage of 5 jours, we can feel the texture is like just giving away. We wanted to, it's motley, but it still has a firmness inside.
It looks like flesh.
It
Ça
looks
ressemble
like
à de la
flesh.
chair.
Exactly. It's changed the structure.
Exactly.
The salt has helped to change the chemical structure of the fruit. And after 5 days, we end up with something pretty much like this. It's cold now, and we cold smoke it.
So, ce qu'on a ici,
Ouais.
c'est ça au bout de 5 jours.
Exact. Ça c'est le même en fait.
Ok.
Pardon.
And the idea is to looks like flesh.
We wanted really to get that first course on the menu, charcuterie, but in a vegetal way.
Ok, de la charcuterie végétale.
Yeah. So this is cold smoked for an hour with hay. We got the smoking chips. We use a
Moi,
mélange.
tu sais ce que je sens? Je sens aussi
Ouais.
un peu la poutargue, presque.
Oui,
le côté
un peu.
fumé des œufs
So
de
we have
poisson.
a mélange of foin. This is like the cassis de riz et le thé noir. And we fume it with this cold smoke first.
Ok. Donc vous utilisez ça pour la fumée qui va
Ouais.
enfumer donc cette pastèque. Donc on passe par là. Peut-être attends.
Ouais. We can
Ça.
move this if you want. So basically, we are grilling on a kakugami, so a carbon graphite. I just found out about this a few days ago. And it has a beautiful retention of heat, but also a transfer of heat through the vegetable. I feel like the vegetable wants to be cooked like this. It's like giving its way to it. So this has been cold smoked for an hour.
Ok.
And then we hot smoke it like a ham, a hot smoked ham, at 60 degrees for one more hour.
Donc il y a cette fumée à froid,
Ouais.
puis cette fumée à chaud.
Fumée
Encore une
avant.
fois, si on prend un exemple, c'est le saumon fumé classique tel qu'on le connaît, c'est fumé à froid.
Ouais.
Il y a la technique du fumé à chaud qui va donner cette technique presque cuite,
Ouais.
littéralement du
Ça
poisson.
cuit, so, comme la flèche.
Exactement.
Et après, il forme une pellicule.
Une pellicule, ok.
Ça, c'est regarder le fume, en fait. C'est un cruste de fume dans le poil de...
Mais comme une viande.
Comme la viande, exact. Comme le saucisse aussi.
Je ne sais pas si vous le sentez,
Ouais.
mais il y a quelque chose de très carnassier, hein, effectivement, là-dedans. C'est très étonnant. Le fumé, évidemment, joue beaucoup là-dessus. Ça, where did it come from? Ça vient d'où, ça?
C'est kakugami, so it's a new cooking vessel from Japan.
Ok. Ça aussi?
This is the same. This is the lid for this.
Ok.
So we're going to do something else in this after, and it's you can basically do anything. It works with any type of heat source. You can put it in the oven like a casserole, dans le induction, on the barbecue.
Donc c'est un outil de cuisson. You can use it for a lot of
A
things.
lot of things, yeah. I mean,
c'est quoi la matière? What is it?
this material is carbon graphite.
Ok, du carbone.
Yeah, carbon, and it has it just retains the heat and circulates the heat so well.
Ok.
And the lid,
C'est le même que utilisait Maurice Sacco la première démonstration pour votre information. On a vu une utilisation et là on en voit d'autres. C'est assez étonnant ce produit.
exact. So basically, we are using the grill part for the pastèque. This is what we do in the restaurant. And we serve it naturally with all the pickles and ferments that we make throughout the year.
Ok.
We have beaucoup de légumes
Fermenté en pickles.
Ouais.
Ça c'est les origines aussi anglaises.
Cap. Ouais. Oui, c'est très anglais. Ouais.
Et un pickles qui va être un peu sucré ou qui va être au contraire très acide?
En sucré salé.
Ok.
On avec le vinaigre aussi.
Sweet and sour.
So today we have a few pickles. I can show you.
And Daniel, you're speaking a lot about vegetables.
Ouais. I mean,
but the restaurant is not.
it's not vegetarian. No.
It's what could you say that vegetarian focused or?
Ouais, vegetal animal we like to call
Okay.
it. Which we wanted to get to the point where, I mean, I'm not a vegetarian myself, but I have a respect for how much you should eat. And I want the food to be like this as well. I find it very digestible, very healthy. I like to think the way the guests leave as well, you know. Very digested, feeling very clean. But we use seasonal amount of meat. So, for example, in the next course, we'll show you something with a seasonal and assaisonnement de viande. Yeah.
Ça c'est comme un steak. We can have different cooking stages, medium rare or well cooked.
We tend to see it as the heat. We treat it like a steak, yeah, like a bavette. As soon as the temperature hit the center, we take it off, we rest it, we carve it, and we season it again.
Okay.
To draw out the
juices.
Ouais, the juice, exact.
Ok. Donc on se rapproche vraiment d'un univers même de cuisine de viande avec de la chair végétale.
Ouais. Nice.
Et ça, tu peux nous en dire un mot? Ça, c'est justement les pickles qui vont être utilisés?
We use the edge of this for the pickles. This will be for the next dish. We're going to show you something with this. So pickles we have from the garden. We have things left over for the whole year. So we tend to preserve, this is a racine de persil. It's fermented with cider and salt and sugar.
On sent effectivement la petite touche de cidre, de pomme.
Right, exactly. And this is the red cabbage, like we said. We do it with coriander seeds. Here we have some cayenne from the garden that we treat like grandia. So salt, sugar, and vinegar.
Ils sont puissants, c'est des poivrons forts.
C'est un petit peu fort, oui.
Donc, j'écouterai pas ou j'écoute. Qu'est-ce que tu me dis?
C'est pas du tout fort.
Non, ok.
And ça, c'est le tige de angélique.
La tige d'angélique.
Ouais. Very celery. It really accentuates the flavor of the pastèque. It works really well with the pastèque. So, fort.
C'est fort. Enfin, c'est fort. C'est intense.
Ouais, aromatique.
Exactement.
Ouais. Very vinegary, actually.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe là-dedans alors?
So this is the stage this is for the next stage.
Ok. On
Oui,
commence?
bien sûr. We commence un autre plat.
Ok, très bien.
We are looking at one of my favorite combinations is choux with XO sauce.
Chou XO sauce.
XO sauce.
La sauce XO.
Ouais.
Est-ce que tu peux juste dire un mot de la sauce XO?
Ouais.
What is made?
XO sauce is a sauce chinois, and basically it's made using lots of dried Chinese sausage. Wait, pencil. Dried Chinese sausage, lots of ham, and dried shrimp and scallop and sanjak.
Donc c'est vraiment une sauce qui est, elle, très puissante aussi.
Ouais, c'est very umami, very fort, very animal.
Est-ce qu'on voit ce qui se passe à l'intérieur?
This is we have some
Très
espelette.
bien.
We have some espelette peppers.
Garlic, right?
Garlic, ginger, shallots, and instead of using scallops and sanjak, we dried some tomatoes. We dried some tomatoes very well, and then we pour on hot water, and we regard the stock from this, and we fry the vegetable mix in oil until it caramelizes. And I find that this is the next one. I need to.
On va chercher une forme de caramélisation de tout ça.
Ouais.
On le voit, je sais pas si on le voit bien à l'écran, mais c'est puissant, hein, ça.
Oui, c'est puissant. Oui. So the temperature is incredible, but it distributes the heat very well. Super bon distribution. Ouais. Okay. And we
Et
cook this.
la sauce XO n'est pas encore dedans. Hein.
Ouais. That's an XO sauce, and it's made.
Ah, c'est
XO sauce,
okay.
and this is made entirely with. You can take this off. I think the pastèque. You can take the pastèque off. And it's made entirely with vegetables, so we don't put any meat inside. The dried tomatoes lends itself the umami to the dish. Dried tomatoes, dried peppers, the chili, ginger, garlic. We cook it in an oil made from tomato skins as well.
Okay.
So we're using all the way like the tomato flavor, because we have lots of tomatoes left at this time of year. You know, we cut them fresh. We don't put them in the fridge, so we tend to have exploding tomatoes. So, because I don't want to see them in the fridge, they lose their flavor. So we dry these, and we dry them, and then we're able to use them in a different method.
So you can do it only right now, when it's the season, right?
Ouais.
On peut faire ça pratiquement qu'aujourd'hui, en ce moment, pour cette période.
You can keep dried tomatoes. Actually, the first one we made was from tomatoes of last year.
Okay.
So we made dried tomatoes of last year with fresh tomatoes this year, and made the XO sauce with it. But it's a beautiful thing. It wants to caramelize, sticky, so you like caramelize all the natural sugars.
Donc on va enlever vraiment toute l'eau,
Ouais.
le liquide qui est à l'intérieur pour aller vraiment chercher la caramélisation.
Ouais. Et ça aussi, le bois de kakagami.
Ah oui.
Ça
rappelle le sauna, t'es d'accord?
Ouais, the sauna japonais, it's the
Finlandais.
natural springs.
Exactement.
They build all the
Le bois de cèdre.
the
hein.
benches of this.
Non, c'est quoi? Tu sais, what kind of food is it?
It's Japanese cypress.
Okay. Cyprès japonais.
It's hikami, hakai, I think. So we let that caramelize a little bit,
Ok.
and we're going to do. Should we do a pastèque? Plate of pastèque?
Où sont les pastèques?
Ouais. You're going to plate the pastèque
Est-ce
now.
qu'on peut les... Mathias, est-ce que tu veux bien qu'on fasse ça de l'autre côté, s'il te plaît, avec ta planche à découper?
Oui, c'est coupé là. C'est coupé là et plat ici. Non, il est coupé là. Hein.
C'est trop chaud, ça, tu crois?
Ouais.
Je sais pas si ça a servi encore. Hein. Super.
You made a vinaigrette.
Daniel, tu serais d'accord pour dire que ça ressemble à une sorte de cœur de bœuf?
Ouais, on peut, ouais.
Pas de tomate, hein, vraiment
Ouais.
du cœur du bœuf.
So it's just giving way. It's like it's not hot. It's not too. It's not hot. It's not too. It's nicely rested, and then we carve this like a piece of viande.
Can I just have a piece?
Oui, bien sûr.
Je veux juste goûter cette... Le concept de la charcuterie végétale prend exactement tout son sens lorsqu'on le met dans la bouche. Il y a ce goût fumé, la texture effectivement du végétal où on retrouve du croquant, mais en même temps qui littéralement c'est à muter. Il y a quelque chose de très carnassier et en même temps de très frais. C'est assez étonnant.
Got a vinaigrette? So these are some actually next to the garden. These are some capers.
Donc, des petits capres.
The cap de Aidezos.
Ok. Capres de...
Aidezos, right. And it takes 6 months to get like this.
C'est des capres de l'ail des ours.
Ouais.
Ok. C'est les fruits de l'ail des ours.
Ouais, exact. Okay. So they're on salt for 3 months.
Je me suis pas trompé.
Sorry, salt for 1 month. And then they go on into a vinegar with sugar for 6 months.
Donc on va avoir aussi ce côté un peu pickles.
C'est le pickles, ouais.
De capre d'ail des ours. Ça, je ne connaissais pas.
And it, like a steak, it needs good fleur de sel.
Un peu de fleur de sel, comme un bon steak. Hein.
And this is a vinaigrette we wanted to something peppery. It's type of like pepper sauce. Pepper works well with pastèque. Also works well with steak as well.
Un steak au poivre.
So this is where it brings in our pastèque. It really finishing flavor. And we also have some for the sugar. We want this caramelization. This is a carob syrup. Carob is a tree that grows in the Mediterranean with giant bean pods. And they have like a bean inside, and they extract the juice from this, and it makes a
carob syrup en français, n'est-ce pas?
Carob.
Je crois. Hein?
Ouais.
La caroube. Hein, on dit ça en français.
And we make a vinaigrette with the carob, with an oil made with Szechuan.
Je sais pas ce que ça vous fait, mais franchement, moi, ça me fait carrément envie.
An oil made with Szechuan and honey, and we sometimes have bits of the pastèque left over, so we have some of the juice of the pastèque going back through it, just to intensify the flavor. Here we have some in the garden, just some fresh cucumbers, cucamelon.
Donc ces petits concombres microscopiques là.
For me, it looks like a petit watermelon, petit pastèque.
Mini pastèque. Comme un clin d'œil.
Right. And we just serve some pickles on the side. And like you take 1 or 2 slices per person, it's enough. So really just open a palate. You start with you coupe the impression for the viande. So through the meal, you've had your viande. So this is what we wanted to do.
C'est vrai que pour démarrer un repas, ça fait envie.
Ouais. C'est comme ça.
Tu veux bien le mettre devant, s'il te plaît?
Ouais. C'est vraiment simple.
Et comment tu l'appelles, ce plat sur ta carte? Pastèque?
Pastèque.
Pastèque, of course.
Play on words.
Pastèque,
Oliver.
ok Daniel. On va applaudir, c'est pastèque, s'il vous plaît. On avait eu, il y a, je crois, quelques années, de la charcuterie de poisson. Je ne sais pas si vous vous souvenez, aussi des merguez de sardines et un tablier de sapeur avec des encornets, je crois. Et bien maintenant, on passe à la charcuterie végétale.
So this is working its way. It's be ready in about 5 minutes. We can start to caramelize the cabbage on the grill if you like. C'est sent vraiment chinois.
Oui.
Yeah. And it's like
très chinois et en même temps très tomate.
Très tomate, ouais.
Ouais.
With this dried tomato flavor, really is like for me, it's another form of umami.
Oui, ça, c'est la définition même d'umami souvent passe par l'idée de cette tomate séchée, dont il est difficile de décrire le goût.
Check that away, comme ça.
Ok.
Okay. So next we go to the choux. The choux as well we treat a little bit like the pastèque, but not the same. So we steam it first.
Ok. Donc vous avez compris qu'on passe au chou, hein, qui va d'abord être cuit à la vapeur.
It's cooked sous vide in a butter made with garlic and verbena and verveine.
Okay, donc
de beurre du lait et de verveine.
This is verbena, right?
Ouais.
C'est la verveine
This is from the garden as well.
Qui va être cuit donc dans ce beurre sous vide.
Sous vide.
Pendant combien de temps? How long?
Vapeur pour 25 minutes.
D'accord.
à 82 degrés. Et après, you fais froid. And like this, we form a crust on the cut side. You know, now is like all the butter is crusted to the cabbage, so we can grill it hard.
C'est ce qui se passe là.
Ouais, exactly.
Donc l'idée va être de garder la cuisson et cette caramélisation aussi,
Ouais.
cette réaction de Maillard dont on parle souvent, qui
Ouais.
va fermer cette croûte comme une viande là encore. Hein.
Comme le viande un peu, ouais. Animal vegetal.
Oui, oui. Bon, c'est très très organique si je puis me permettre. Hein. C'est body fluid. Hein.
Oui. And we wanted the cabbage. I love to roast the cabbage, like really roast the cabbage till it's soft and moulu and tender. But for the plate, it doesn't hold its texture that well, you know. For visual, it's not the best visual dish. So we worked it away to just cook it till it's just set, and then caramelize it. And we still have the same impression, but you have something very incredibly well structured and incredibly well technically cooked. Pardon.
Mais donc, si je vais ce soir chez Robert,
Ouais.
est-ce que je vais avoir de la viande?
We have now we just do it's a menu degustation,
Ok,
and we have a supplement for viande.
ok.
One or two of the snacks as well, or meat. At the moment, c'est parfait de foie de pintade with a fig chutney and sourdough crackers. So we have a little bit of viande, just an impression.
Ok.
Just a real, like, just to feel, for me, I would like some viande in the restaurant as well, but I don't want my meal to be dominated by it. So,
But it seems that you have more fun to cook vegetables.
of course, I mean, you really have to use, this is all my experience, the culmination of all my travels are put into this process, you know. It's really deciphering how to cook that vegetable really well, you know, get into it, understand what you want, and from all the culmination of experiences brings around this idea. So it's fun, you know, this is what cooking is about. It's an experiment, it's like being in school, so.
Et comment tu voudrais définir la cuisine, ta cuisine aujourd'hui, s'il fallait lui coller un mot, un label, parce qu'on difficile de lui dire d'où elle vient, from which country, I don't know, from what is your definition of your own cuisine?
What is the
If you want to just have one word to define your cooking style.
It's very difficult. Honestly, it's mostly defined by my mood.
By what?
Mood, how I feel.
Ton mood.
My mood, yes.
Okay.
On the day, some days I can be very classical. Some days I can be very focused on like creating new technique, looking at new flavors, you know, very experimental. I'd say more experimental.
Okay. Donc une cuisine instinct.
Yes.
Ok. Et là, est-ce que tu peux... Donc
ça c'est une petite pud de Espelette du jardin. So now we start to add a bit. You got sunflower seeds.
Je peux te prendre? Moi, je suis quand même très curieux de goûter ça. Excusez-moi, mais...
Ouais, c'est fort pour le moment. Et the sunflower seeds? Ouais, okay. This is for texture. So they're gonna release the natural oils into the tomato jam. At the end, you have something to bite onto. Kind of like a pesto.
Et what is it exactly?
The grain de tournesol.
Les grains de tournesol. Oui, ça ressemble à des petits pignons.
Ouais.
Alors, c'est extrêmement riche.
Ouais.
Le piment, évidemment, est là. La tomate séchée.
Ouais. And now all the sugars are being released to the bottom of the pan. They're sitting. And that's what brings in the flavor. The caramelization of the natural sugars.
Tu vas chercher justement la petite caramélisation vraiment parce que
Ouais.
ou tu veux éviter que ce soit trop marqué. Non, c'est ça.
C'est
Ouais.
comme ça, un petit peu. It's just commencer. Comme ça. Et ça, c'est le reaction Maillard.
Okay. Et ça, the quantity is for all the services. For
That's
of the week.
That's a lot.
Okay.
That's enough for a full service. So if we make 50 assiettes, c'est bon, comme
Vous
ça.
avez compris, hein, évidemment.
Ouais.
On va vraiment doser, c'est puissant, donc il s'agit de... Ça correspond à peu près à 4 services, ce que dit
We
David.
need some water for the extra sauce.
On a encore 3 minutes.
Ouais.
On dresse cette assiette ou
En assiette, ouais. 3 minutes, c'est pas?
Ouais.
Ok. C'est vite, hein?
Ben oui, ça va.
Et we fait la pluche aussi.
Ah mais
le dernier.
t'as spoilé là.
Ouais.
Est-ce que...
Pardon.
Viens de l'autre côté, s'il te plaît.
Ok. Vous avez le plat?
Merci beaucoup, Daniel.
Okay, sauces. So we're going to take some of this. Just going to add the sugar to it quickly. We just finished this with sugar and salt.
Ok.
Sugar and soy, sorry, for the salt.
The sugar and
Soy, shoyu en fait.
shoyu. Ok.
Ouais.
Donc là, on va chercher encore la caramélisation, j'imagine.
Ouais. Okay, so we take a little bit of this. This is going to season the cabbage. Okay, this is what we're talking about, using a little bit of viande. This is encre de sèche fumée avec de huile de noisette.
Je m'écarte, hein, excuse-moi.
Ouais. Une petite fleur de basilic.
Là, on va chercher aussi la couleur, j'imagine, hein,
Ouais.
le pourpre, le violet.
And this is a condiment of ginger, gingembre, et de citron salé.
Citron salé.
Ouais.
Ok.
Oh, pardon.
Un peu comme un lemon curd. Hein.
Comme the
Lemon curd.
yes, exact. Without any sugar at all.
Ok. Vraiment.
So we're just going to finish that. That's done, and I'm going to show you the pluche because we need to get that one. Right. That's the choux rôti,
Très très sexy.
encre
cette
sèche
assiette.
fumée.
Merci Daniel.
Okay, finalement, very quickly, this is what everybody in the restaurant finishes with. You've got the bowls, right? This is so my first visit to the Jardin sur Loire. We visited the vegetable and herb patch, and I tasted all the herbs, and I was like, that moment, I was like, okay, I need to recreate that moment in the restaurant. For me, that was the most important moment of my time since I've been at Robert. So I tasted these herbs, and I was like, okay, I need to grow lots of herbs. We need to search for acidity, and on the side was growing wild paupier, which makes sense because it gives body to the pluche.
Vous avez compris, hein, il s'agit de recréer ce
Ouais.
sentiment que Daniel peut ressentir lorsqu'il va dans son jardin sur les bords de la Loire et qui va goûter une succession d'herbes, la fraîcheur et aussi voilà, la puissance aromatique, parfois l'amertume, l'acidité, on peut imaginer de ces herbes.
Ouais. And this, just to heighten all the vegetable flavor, this is an emulsion made with oseille, basilic and levèche. And this, en fait, you trempes that dans l'émulsion, and tu goûtes, and it's this acidic, aromatic. With the levèche, it's very, for me, a little bit animal as well.
And at what moment of the menu you would like to serve this pluche?
We started this with the start of the meal, but we found that this was the best dish. So the menu did this gradually. So now we serve it as just after the main course to refresh the palate. I mean, after something like this is the main course. That's a perfect refreshment, you know. So
Could we say that it's like the salad moment in a French?
like a green salad after the mains. Yes, exactly. So that's pluche de herbes de jardin with emulsion oseille.
Et Daniel, just a word about pluche.
Pluche.
For French people, pluche doesn't
Ouais.
exist.
Pluche
Le mot
in-
n'existe pas. Moi,
pluche.
je sais pas. It looks like maybe when you dive, you make the pluche.
Pluche can mean two things. It means something very soft and velvety, something very like comme the pillow. But it also means a bunch of herbs in kitchen language in England. We say, okay, pick the pluche. Pluche of chervil, pluche of basilic, pluche of oseille. So it's a pluche. So it has a connection to my cooking heritage.
On va applaudir très fort Daniel Morgan et Mathias du restaurant Robert. Merci beaucoup pour cette sublime masterclass qui est vraiment très intéressante. On enchaîne dans 5 minutes. Merci beaucoup. Il faut aller les voir chez Robert dans le 11e.
Merci.
Merci messieurs.
Merci beaucoup.